What's up, y'all? Today I got something very special for you. Joker has been out for 3 years. Seems like it was just yesterday, right? That's crazy. Time flies. Anyways, I'm releasing this video for the people who love my content and who want to pick up Joker. If you want to be competitive and take your Joker to the next level, look no further. This guide here will get you up to speed on everything you need to know about Joker. If you want even more guides on how to play this character, check out the rest of my content. I have a huge log. Now, with all that being said, let's hop into this video. Joker is a very fast character who is hard to hit. With his high dash speed combined with his low running animation, it is very easy to avoid a lot of moves. That combined with his top 5 fall speed makes him a very mobile character, which is why I can say with confidence that Joker does not have a best button. The best thing you can do with Joker is not nair, nor is it back air. This is movement. And you will come to understand why I say this later on in the guide. But right now, just understand that movement is the #1 thing that you need to look to master if you want to play Joker. Movement is key. Without movement, you won't get much of anything to go for you. Since he has very small and precise hitboxes, it is very hard to just throw moves out to hit people with him. So the best thing you can do is to create a whiff with your very good movement. If you can move correctly and force whiffs, it can make landing his small moves much easier. For example, Joker's neutral air. If you're just jumping around trying to land this move, it's going to be very hard to do because nair is a very small move. Unless you have a lot of experience with this character or just with movement in general, you're going to have a very hard time landing nair in neutral. It's very important that you know this. Joker is a mastery character, okay? If you're lacking in any key aspects of the game, like for example positioning, spacing, and or snap decision making, Joker will not flow very well for you. Not to mention that he is one of the most mentally taxing characters in the game. This is due, obviously, to the last point that I just talked about. Having to have very solid fundamentals while also having to have a very good grasp of the mental side of the game. It takes a lot of practice, dedication, and tons of losses to fully understand how this character works. You cannot give up. Once you understand this and decide to make that leap and stay on this character, the struggle, the time, all that will pay off. Tenfold, I promise you. Just remember, Joker is very special. He has a totally different approach to his game plan and does not play like a traditional Smash character. He is rarely the first to approach ever, and he really has no quote-unquote best move. Joker has to be played in a very specific way, and he has to play to where he makes little to no errors. That is one of the reasons why this character is so hard to play and even harder to master. Now, an honorable mention to Gun, because Gun could be his best move. Potentially it is. But, as I said before, Joker does not have a best button. Gun comes very close though. It's a conditioning tool that can force the opponent to approach, and Joker does not like to be the one approaching. He is a bait and punish character, he's meant to strike second. That is why I stress having good movement with Joker. Gun only supplements that. Don't worry y'all, the Gun guide is on its way. And let me just tell you this right now. It's a Uzi. It's pretty big. It's definitely going to blow your mind. Be on the lookout. Now, another reason why this character is so hard to play is because of his kill power. And yeah, Joker does have Arsene, who can literally kill at 0. But what if Arsene is just not there and the opponent's at 150 plus? Do you smash attack? Do you Rebels Guard? Do you take damage on purpose so Arsene can come out? The answer to all those questions are no. I'm gonna keep it simple because I have a guide on this subject. There are 3 main ways that Joker likes to find stocks. 1 is edge guarding, which is the easiest way. 2 is ledge trapping, which is the safest and preferred way to find stock. This can also lead into an edge guard. And the third method is conditioning, which is not limited to tech chases, whiff punishment, and anti-air. Conditioning is by far one of the hardest ways to earn kills. But you're going to need to master this because options 1 and 2 are not going to be always available to you. So the TLDR is either edge guard, nickel and dime ledge traps until they die from F tilt or back air, or get into the opponent's head so you can find kills that way. That's what Joker has to do to find kills. Arsene will make these things much easier, but you cannot rely on him. The mark of being a good Joker is being able to do these things without Arsene. It takes time. My final tip on how to earn kills is to just let them come to you. You don't need to force anything. Take what the opponent gives you and run with it. Yet another reason why this character is so hard is because he lacks proper out of shield options. He lacks up B, as his up B is grapple hook and wings of rebellion. So up B out of shield with this character, count it out, not happening. Forward air and back air are both good, with back air being better because of its vertical coverage. But they're both frame 7, which makes it frame 10 out of shield. Not ideal since they only work on tall characters too, as you'll go right over a shorter character. And if they're low profiling, good luck dog. It's worth noting that Arsene back air does have more horizontal range than base Joker back air, so you can hit moves that do have a lot of pushback. Another decent out of shield option that he does have is up smash. Just like forward air and back air, it's frame 10. But don't count on it because I've gotten this move to whiff right in front of him sometimes. It's better used as an anti-air than it is as an out of shield option, just saying. There is a faster move you can use out of shield. And notice how I said faster and not better. It's up there. You're not going to be using that much. I just wanted to get that out there. But it's frame 8. There's some even faster than that, which is actually better than up air, and it's footstool. Footstool as an out of shield option only works on bad spacing though. It also only works on landing lag. So let's say the opponent does an up smash, and the up smash is literally minus 36, right? You still cannot footstool that as they're not in landing lag. So any move that you footstool on the ground, they'll fan on footstool. They need to be in landing lag. Now, you only get guns out of footstool, but you gotta be really fast for it. That's gonna be in the gun guide, keep an eye out for it. Joker's best out of shield options are full op, roll, and run away. Basically, disengage. You can try back air and forward air, but they are not going to work on shorter characters, low profiling moves, or good spacing, or moves that are under minus 10. Oh yeah, don't shield grab, that's a bad idea. Joker's shield grab is frame 10 though, if you want to. Those are its most reliable out of shield options. Yeah, take this from me, you are better off not shielding with this character. Instead, use your movement and ridiculous hurtbox shifting. All in all, to play this character at a decent level, you need solid fundamentals and very good movement. To put it simply, if you lack either of those, you're not going to be having that much fun. 2 things that are going to help you get used to playing this character is 1, getting used to your movement, and 2, learning how to slow the game down. Joker is really good at controlling the pace of the match. Knowing his B&Bs help out so much too, which is what we're about to get into right now. Alright, so I'm going to keep this short and simple, because I can turn this into a 2-hour subject, but I won't. So we're going to start with down throw fair. Pretty simple, right? You can also do down throw fair dash attack if it's before 10%. There is also down throw back air, which works until literally forever. What you have to watch out for is down throw back air dash attack. That's not going to work forever. And then of course you have up throw up air. You can also drag down, which will lead into more stuff. Speaking of drag downs, you can do down throw, up air, drag down, starting at 20%. This is of course if the opponent DIs in or does not DI at all. So if you want to go for drag downs, you have to know the opponent's going to DI in or not at all. If you do not know, do not go for it. You can also react, but that's much harder online. And one more thing about loops, if the opponent keeps on DIing in like a dummy, then you can drag them across pretty much the whole entire stage, up until 60. With rage, you have to watch out though, because more knockback. Now let's go over how to land grabs. At 0, pretty much every aerial gives you a grab. And with Nair, you can go all the way up to 50. Of course, again, watch for rage. Back air tumbles pretty early though. And down air tumbles around the 20s. Fair is also pretty early, so be careful there. Now let's talk about dash attack. Out of pretty much every aerial, dash attack will combo. But watch out for high percentage because it will not work there. Moving on to fair one, it is a great whiff punish tool. You can get pretty much any and every aerial out of this move, so if you land it, go crazy. It is also a godlike spot dodge punish. It's one of Joker's key ways to end stocks. If you land this move, they just might be dead. Well, later on of course. This move is really crazy, but the thing is, it takes a lot of patience to land this move correctly, so we'll talk about that later though. Now let's talk about up tilt. Up until 40, this move will combo into up air. What it will not combo into is up B. Don't try that. Actually, while we're here, do not try to combo into grapple hook at all. Up B is strictly a call out tool. It is not made for combos. Well, since we're on stuff that does not work, let's talk about down tilt up air. If you just land down tilt, close down tilt that is, it doesn't matter what percentage they're at, it will never combo into up air. You need to land a tipper version of down tilt, which is the furthest hitbox. It's pretty hard to space. And while we're on down tilt, let me go over near down tilt.
The same principle applies. You will rarely get tip or down tilt here. And you also have to land there correctly or else down tilt's never true. If you do land it though, it puts the opponent in a very bad spot, which could lead into frame traps and or whiff punishes. There's also ways to punish the opponent for jumping, so get very creative with it. With all that being said, I will still take grab over down tilt.
Now, if you're a combo fiend and you want to know everything about Joker's combos, look no further. Since I did not go over all of his combos, there is much more to be learned. I have uploaded an entire combo series of both base Joker and Arsene. Not to mention I have an actual guide out on combos. Not only that, but there are other videos that will also help you with combos. Give them a peep if you're curious. Who knows, you can pick up something completely new from it. Alright y'all, now that we wrapped up B&Bs, let's talk about Nooch. As I was trying to stress before, Joker's neutral relies on how good his movement is. You need to be creative and elusive. Play like a phantom thief. I'm going to keep stressing this. Movement is number one. Not throwing out aerials, not using gun, not using Nia, it's all about movement. You may see me using gun here, but that's me using it as a way to get the opponent to approach from the air. Doing that will allow you to use your movement to move out of the way so you can punish a landing and or a whiff. Using the combination of great movement and a little bit of gun is a good way to get the opponent to mess up and do what you want them to do. That's all you need to play neutral. You don't need to go all aggressive and smack the opponent with every aerial. Doing that will get you hit, which is, well, one, not good, and two, possibly hit off stage, where we do not want to be at. I'll explain more on that a little later. Another big part of neutral is just experience in the game. I know that sounds really redundant, but listen to me. With enough experience in the game, you have a general idea of what the opponent wants to go for, right? I'm talking about the human that you're fighting against right now, not the character. The character, you will have to know all of their options too. There's a lot more to neutral, but I'm going to keep this video short and cut it here. If you want to know everything about Joker's neutral, check out the video that I have on it. In that video, me and Raven King go over everything that you need to know about neutral. Believe me, it's worth watching. If you have any more questions about Joker's neutral, they will most likely be answered in that video, I promise you. You also get some game plan help there too. Give it a look. You will definitely not regret it. Patience. The second most important thing that Joker needs to master right alongside positioning. Patience will take your Joker from average to absolutely terrifying if you know when and where to apply it. If you do not know how to be patient, you will lose out on tons of interactions that you could have easily won if you just waited a tad. Joker's hitboxes are small and take some precision to use effectively. One way to avoid going through the process of constantly trying to attack with these small hitboxes is to cool it, slow down the game a little bit, and wait until the opponent makes a mistake, because you're Joker and you are mad hard to hit. This is highly recommended in matchups where the opponent is either 1, a small character, or 2, more agile than Joker. Remember this, you have no reason at all to try to match anybody else's tempo, especially if you are playing Joker. Being patient can make the game go on for a very long time, and the longer that you play in the game, the more chances that Arsene can be out. And the more Arsene is out, the more chances that you have to actually rob somebody. There's a reason why our rule sets have at least 7 minutes on the clock. If you're trying to speedrun games in a serious setting, you're not playing the game right. Take your time. Now, when I say patience, I don't only mean to use patience in neutral. I mean it everywhere. For example, the ledge. Waiting for the right time to use ledge options is a key skill to have at any level of play. Especially if you use options like drop ledge, fair, or gun. If the opponent catches onto this and starts punishing you for it, you can lose your stock pretty early. Especially if you do not have Arsene. So, showing a little bit of patience and mixing up your options as well as your timings is the way to go. You need to be patient in advantage state too, especially when you want to go off stage. If you just fly off stage and the opponent dodges your attack, you have a very high chance of getting reverse edge guarded, which you do not want at all. You want that literally never, because Joker needs to survive as long as possible. Because the longer you survive, the more Arsene you have. And if you die early because you went off stage, that means you get less chances for Arsene. And that can be a huge disadvantage for Joker. You don't want that, so hey, be patient.
Joker, where do I even start with this? He has some of the best movement in the game. If I made a video talking about movement, it would take forever because he has so many options. Not only that, but he has outrageous hurtbox shifting, which is kind of annoying on its own. I'll get into that after we talk about his movement though. So Joker's one of the fastest characters in the game with one of the best wall speeds. Couple that with his movement options and his hurtbox shifting, and he is frustratingly one of the hardest characters to hit in the game. If that isn't bad enough, he also has gun, which gives him another way to play passive on top of new movement options. Now we add on the threat of Arsene and him having the same speed, but instead of dying mad late, he died like 20 now. Yeah, playing against a good Joker who has mastered movement is very stressful because you can die at any time, while he does not have to commit to anything whatsoever. So let's go over his movement options. He has a very low dash which ties into hurtbox shifting. He can B turnaround, B reverse, and wave bounce both gun and E-high. He can cancel his grapple hook, giving him recovery mix-ups. And for gun, he has numerous options. Obviously, he has access to the game's B mechanics, B reverse, and stuff we just talked about. He also has a built-in dodge in his gun. This allows him to infinitely air dodge off the level, making his recovery broken. It also allows him to do a pseudo wave dash, which has so many possibilities for movement it's not even funny. Seriously, this is one of the best moves in the game. There's also gun jump, which is notoriously good for getting back to center stage. It's a pretty annoying move to deal with, but hey, it wouldn't be Joker if it wasn't annoying. Do not mistake this for Rainstorm because they're two different moves. Gun jump and guns down are two different moves. That's pretty much it for its movement option. Now for its hurtbox shifting, which is actually kind of toxic. So Joker is one of the hardest characters to hit in the game, which is not by accident. Nintendo is pure evil for making this character like this. It's better if I just show you what he does. So let's get the obvious out the way. Earlier I talked about his dash. He literally ducks when he dashes, which is nothing new because other characters do this too, but Joker takes it to another level. His jump animation is absolutely terrible. He turns into a ball, a little itty bitty ball that you just cannot hit. Ever try swinging at Puff, Meta Knight, or Kirby? Yeah, it's almost the same thing. Luckily, this is only really prominent in his forward and neutral jump animations. His backflip has a totally different animation that's useful in its own way. Now, that was just his regular jump. His double jump, at least the neutral one, is so very toxic too. Yep, he's actually just spinning around in the air. Impossible to hit him. He's already skinny, and the fact that he's spinning around, constantly moving around his body, you just can't. It's really hard to hit him when he's doing that. Couple that with the fact that he can fall like a ton of bricks. Yeah, you see where I'm going here. Not to mention that when he takes damage, when he's getting launched, he's in a very weird animation. And it's kind of hard to hit him there too. It's kind of funny. This goes without saying, but his down tilt is obnoxious. And down tilt comes from crouch. And this crouch turns him into Kirby. It's pretty good. Aerial neutral gun also shrinks his hurtbox too. Pretty handy when trying to recover. You also get a hitbox with it. Oh yeah, and his snare turns him into a ball too. Albeit not as small as his jump animation, but still turns into a ball nonetheless. Speaking of moves turning characters into actual spears, can we talk about this move please? Please. Some of his aerials also make him low profile. Yeah, he has everything. Not as good as some characters that I won't talk about, but it's pretty good. Okay, maybe nowhere near as good, but yeah. Finishing up movement, that's pretty much all you need. Joker's already elusive to begin with. Put together what I just told you and you'll be just fine. Also, if you want to know even more about movement, I have an entire movement series on my channel. Check it out. Joker's stage selection is brutally straightforward. There is no right or wrong stage when it comes to playing this character because he is so goddamn versatile. The only thing that actually matters when it comes to picking stages is the matchup. For example, you would never take Pika to FD, you do not want to take Sonic to Town and City, and obviously Mario on any triplets, be it Battlefield or Yoshi's, is a fat no. So obviously you would not go to those stages, ban them. But any other stage where there's no glaring disadvantage for Joker, it's fair game. It really comes down to how comfortable you are on each stage, and also your game plan going into the game. Like picking Kalos to be a little bit more defensive, or picking Smashville to be a little bit more aggressive. So TLDR, stage selection for Joker really does not matter. You pick for the matchup or personal preference. And if you don't know what to pick, then just pick PS2. Can't go wrong with that. Unless you're fighting DK, then you know some funny stuff can happen, but other than that, it's simple. It's worth noting that Joker's advantage, disadvantage, and neutral will change depending on the stage. Here's a few examples. On Battlefield, during advantage state, he gets platform extensions and he gets pratfalls. For disadvantage, he cannot land with gun anymore as the platforms are blocking him. And for neutral, E-high will be blocked. Wow, it's almost like this move is not supposed to be used in neutral. That's crazy. Anyways, if you want to use it in neutral, just get more stage control. Now let's go to another stage. Let's pick FD. Joker's advantage stage is going to be much different. For one, there are no platforms, which means no extended combos. Which also means that the opponent cannot land at disadvantage if you have really good positioning. This also ties in a disadvantage because now you can land with guns. And since there are no platforms, you can E-haul all you want to. I would not recommend that though. And that's about it for the examples. I can go much deeper, but this is not a stage video. In my opinion, Joker has no bad stages, but if you want to hear my favorite stage of all time, it's Town and City. The runners up are Kalos and then Yoshi's. It can be much different for you depending on what type of player you are, but that's about the gist of it. That's about it for stages. It's pretty simple. Advantage. Man, a lot to talk about here. This is Joker's best category in my opinion. He absolutely destroys in advantage state. It's ridiculous how good he is in advantage. Yeah, remember earlier when I was talking about his stats? Like how quick he is and his fall speed? That plays a huge part in advantage state.
Because usually, if you're a slow character, you may get your hits in, but you will not be able to apply pressure as strongly as any other fast character. Like Sheik, Mithra, GSS, or Fox, for example. Those characters are really good at keeping pressure up after the combo is over, due to how fast they are. And this can lead to even more hits. Even if it does not lead to more hits, the pressure is still really good, which can lead into habit tracking, which can lead into even more damage later on down the line and even a game. So, for example, if you actively blow up the opponent for jumping, the opponent might start picking different defensive options, meaning you still have your advantage. So you can still go crazy. This is a never-ending loop really. As long as you know how far you can extend, your advantage state is basically unlimited with this character. That brings me to another point, overextending. It is very easy to start pinning yourself with Joker and get lost in the sauce, so be very careful. His advantage state may be really, really good, but you can still overextend with Joker and you can get punished for it heavily, so be careful. And I didn't cover this in the last section, but let's cover this now. Going off stage. The only time you should be going off stage with base Joker is if the opponent has to come back by air dodging. If they have multiple resources, do not go off stage with base Joker. Due to the gun nerf, Rainstorm off stage really is not a problem. So instead, you should stay on stage and go for a ledge trap. Arsene on the other hand, he really does not care. He can go as deep as he wants to, and you should really take advantage of that. All in all, Joker is an advantage state monster. He's very quick and can easily apply pressure to the opponent after hitting them. Couple that with how deep he can go off stage, and you have a very terrifying character. And Arsene, yeah, we're gonna get on him a little later. For now, just know that he has a very strong advantage state. And now let's quickly go over ledge trapping. Now, this is getting this very own video, so please be very patient with me. I'm gonna give you a basic rundown of it. Joker's ledge trap game is very reactive. You cannot be that preemptive when you're ledge trapping with Joker. The only two preemptive options that are good are E-high, if done from the right range, and Nair. Nair can cover basically every option from the ledge if done with the right timing. And if they roll, you can cover it with back air on reaction. The basic idea of Joker's ledge trap game is to play reactive, look for habits, and condition. You do that by subtle movements and positioning well. I'll give you two quick flowcharts real quick on how to ledge trap. Now remember, I'm just going to cover the basics here. To put it simply, one way is safe and less rewarding, and the other way is risky and a little bit more rewarding. The safe way is about standing at roll distance and reacting to get ups. From here, you can sit and react to what they do. So say if they ledge jump into an aerial, well, you all spaced it, so you can react and hit them. Same for get up attack. If they jump, you can react to that. If they get up, you can react to that. If they roll, which I don't know why they will because you're standing there, but you can react to that. Basically, there is no downside to playing from this distance. That's why it's safe. Even if they get up and you don't get to punish them, for doing their ledge option, they're still in the corner, so it's still technically your turn to ledge trap. So if you don't believe in your reaction time or you're playing online or something, this is the recommended method for ledge trapping.
Now the more quote-unquote risky way to ledge trap is by standing right outside of get-up attack range. This can change depending on the matchup because get-up attack ranges vary, but think of get-up attack as a general range. From here, it's much harder to react to a lot of stuff. At this range, drop ledge aerials can hit you if you do not react in time. The opponent can roll right past you, and if you're not reacting or if you're already doing something, you probably just got hit. And now you're being ledge trapped. The same goes for if they jump right past you from a ledge jump. You can react to that and run right under them and keep them trapped, but other than that, if you don't react to that, now you're being ledge trapped again. But you're able to react to literally all of this if you're just ready for it. It's all about anticipation. Oh yeah, you can also just nair at this range and beat literally almost every option. But watch out for get up attack because that can actually punish you for nair. However, drifting back while using nair will eliminate get up attack. So there you go. Ledge trumping is a key part of Joker's conditioning game at the ledge. If the opponent is at the right percent, they will straight up lose their stock. And it's 100 times worse if Arsene is here. They will actually just die at 60 or even lower if you go for a dare. This will strike fear into the opponent, especially if you've already taken their stock from a ledge trump before. Against opponents that you have no info on, you should only go for a trump after you condition the opponent to hold ledge. Beware, the opponent isn't guaranteed to get trumped at the same angle all the time if they're DIing. You need to understand that before using the same aerial every time. Also, they can just buffer an option and not have to worry about getting trumped at all, effectively putting you into a very bad spot because now you're being ledge trapped. There are many ways to condition here. Joker is yet again blessed with his fall speed, as he can easily fake trumps with just his jump alone. Seriously, this is actually a 50-50. Joker is that fast. He can also fake trumps with his dash to force early ledge options. Trumping is a really good way to steal away stock, but it's also one of Joker's best conditioning tools at the ledge. Do not forget to practice this input, because if you mess up on it, you might just SD. Believe me, I've seen it happen before. It's highly recommended that you look to implement trumping into your ledge trap game. It'll help you so much. There's also one benefit to this which is more advanced, and that is footstool punishes. It's called full hop, footstool out of shield, aka Crawl Storm, courtesy of the founder Crawl. Now this is getting its own video, this is very specific, but just know that if the opponent drops ledge and does an aerial, you can kill them. Also, empty hops at the ledge are really good. You know, Joker has the top 5 fall speed, right? And he has a frame 7 back air that can kill, especially via Arsene. Back air is safe on shield and it has relatively low landing lag. So even if you do get it shielded or if you miss it, you're not really at a disadvantage. But if you're really afraid of out of shield punishes, or if you want to condition the opponent, tomahawks or just plain empty hops are really strong ways to get your pressure up.
Another god rejected.
But anyways, this style of ledge trap is geared more towards offline. If you're trying to do this online, good luck. But it's still possible. Albeit it's a little harder, but it's still very much so possible. Power to you. And now let's wrap this up so the video is not 10 years long. You do not have to use one flowchart for ledge trap. You can switch whenever you want to. It's actually recommended so you can keep the opponent on their toes. But yeah, that's about it. Remember, try to play a little bit more on the reactive side. Now, Joker's disadvantage. This is going to be a short subject because, to put it simply, there is none. I mean, even with the down guns nerf, you can still have pretty good gun mix-ups on the way down. Couple that with his fall speed and his frame 3 Rebels guard, and it's going to be pretty tricky to hit him. Not to mention that it's pretty scary trying to edge guard him. If you mess up trying to hit him, yeah, that could be it. Rebel Hook has mix-ups, and there's a ton of things you can do with gun on the way back. But his recovery is not perfect. You can still get edge guarded pretty hard if you're not careful. Rebel Hook is very exploitable, so just hit him on the way up, and you really can't do much besides tech. To be honest, all you need is a little love tap, and he's dead. Of course, Arsene is much harder to gimp, but 2 frames are the death of him, so go crazy on him. There is one more thing though. If you're chasing them in the air, he only has a few options. You can't really mash aerials on the way down due to the startup. If you know this and the Joker knows this, he can't push any buttons on the way down. That leaves him with basic options: a frame 1 jump, frame 3 air dodge and Rebels guard, and a frame 4 counter. Covering these options will keep him in disadvantage. And that's the extent of it. His disadvantage may be kind of tricky at first to understand, but once you get it, it's fairly simple. And now, this is the last point I want to cover, Arsene. Now, when Arsene's on the field, your main objective is not to rush at them like a madman. I mean, in low to mid-level play, it could be, but once you play against smarter players, it is very hard to get an opening. One thing you can do is what I've been stressing literally all video. Patience. You don't have to dash at them like a madman. If you just slowly walk towards them, they have two options they can do. One, run away. Two, engage. If they're in the corner, which they might be because 75% of the time when you have Arsene, they ran away, then one of the options, which is engaging, is very unsafe. Not only will you have the whole stage to run back and whiff punish them with, but if they mess up and do something laggy, then they're going to die. And if they don't engage, they're already in the corner, so they have no options to run away. They have to get past you somehow, which means you can react to them running past you. And if you don't want to react, you just walk away slowly and watch what they do. Take what the opponent gives you and don't force anything. Remember, patience.
As I said before, you have 7 minutes on the clock. Use all of them. Arsene being out does not mean you need to go changing your playstyle up. It's still Joker, so play the game. Remember, Joker likes to strike second and prefers to play to timeout. Don't rush things just because you have Arsene, because Arsene can be exploited off the level. So don't go all Neanderthal caveman mash mode just because you have Arsene, because if you lose neutral and get 2 frames because of that, you have nobody else to blame but yourself. Arsene is a comeback factor, so if you're in the lead, you don't really need to do much. Arsene only lowers the amount of interactions that you need to take the stock, so you still need to play the game. But that's about it for the video. If you made it to the end, thank you. I have much more content coming out later on, so please be patient. That's about it for me though. It's been Mage, and I'm finna bounce.